10 years, 9 major trophies, and 2 simply incredible managers with very different approaches. The 1970s was the first decade in which the Reds rose to the very top of the game as they won 2 European Cups in a row and multiple league titles.
I've drummed it into our players time and again that they are privileged to play for you.
When 1970 came around, Shankly was rebuilding as his 1965 Cup winners aged. Ron Yates left and in came Kevin Keegan. Liverpool finished 5th in 1970 and in 1971, but the supporters' faith was unwavering and Shankly still had the crowd in the palm of his hand. This was most notable when, after losing the 1971 FA Cup final to Arsenal, over 100,000 supporters gathered on Lime Street to listen to Shankly, who addressed the crowd from the steps of St George's Hall.
Honestly, Peter Robinson was standing behind, and Peter said to me a few days later, if Bill Shankly had told that crowd to storm through the Mersey Tunnel and seize Birkenhead, they'd have done it. It was ultimate power over people. He did have that, either en masse or even individually when you spoke to him.
Among the players Shankly brought into the team were John Toshak, Phil Thompson, Steve Highway and the aforementioned Kevin Keegan. They began to make an impact and help Liverpool finish 3rd in 1972, qualifying for the UEFA Cup in the process. The next season, Liverpool were back. With Keegan and Toshak devastating up front, the Reds won the league and their first ever European trophy, the UEFA Cup. The final was a 2-legged affair with the Reds winning the first match 3-0 at Anfield. The second leg swung the other way, but Borussia Mönchengladbach could only manage a 2-0 win. That meant the Reds returned from Germany triumphant.
European Football Union. Liverpool wobbled and wavered for a long time tonight. In the second half, they fought like men.
The following year, Liverpool finished runners-up behind a great Leeds side, but the season still ended on a high as Liverpool lifted their second ever FA Cup in Shankly's penultimate match. They beat Newcastle 3-0 with 2 from Keegan and 1 from Highway. 9 years on from Liverpool's last cup win, Shankly had rebuilt his great side, but was to leave just a few weeks later after that great day at Wembley.
July the 12th, 1974, 12 noon, in the trophy room at Anfield, we thought it was a signing. And in fact, there was a signing later, which got about 3 inches in the papers. Next day was a record signing. Ray Kennedy was signed.
Mr. Shankly has intimated that he wishes to retire from active participation in league football.
We're in a room of hard-bitten media people, and there was an audible gasp went up. It was unbelievable.
Shankly's assistant, Bob Paisley, was the man to take over. Though quieter and more camera-shy, the man from the northeast was just as astute as Shankly and took Liverpool to even greater heights. After a second-place finish in his first season, in 1976 he won the League and UEFA Cup, the first 2 of his 13 major trophies as manager. With Emlyn Hughes as captain, Liverpool beat Gladbach again as they won their first European Cup in Rome. The Italian capital was turned red and white as thousands of fans made the trip over, but perhaps the most famous game that season was the quarter-final, when Saint Etienne came to Anfield after a 1-0 win in the first leg. Keegan got Liverpool off to a great start and lifted the crowd, but Dominique Baffinet scored a brilliant long ranger in the second half to leave Liverpool needing 2. The Reds pulled one back quickly through Ray Kennedy, but with Liverpool needing another to avoid being knocked out, time was running out. Step forward, 20-year-old David Fairclough, who scored on the break and created the legend of Super Sub. The eruption after his goal and the night as a whole is remembered as one of Anfield's greatest occasions. There were plenty more to come in the following years, but not for Kevin Keegan. He moved to Hamburg in the summer and was replaced by a certain Kenny Dalglish. He signed from Celtic for £440,000. The young Scot took to Liverpool like a duck to water, and within a year he had already become a legend, scoring a classy winner as Liverpool retained the European Cup at Wembley against Club Brugge. From 1971's FA Cup final defeat, the only two players that remained in the starting lineup for that 1978 final were Ray Clements, the goalkeeper, and Captain Hughes. While Nottingham Forest were the winners in Europe for the next 2 years, Liverpool continued to assert their dominance domestically. Another league title followed to round out the decade in which Liverpool went from domestic challengers to European conquerors. Now they were set for the greatest ever decade to come, with boyhood fan Phil Thompson captaining the side as Liverpool went into the 1980s.